If I don't got it in my hand, then you took it from me. You know where to find me if you looking for me. Pull up. Pull up. Right now.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Awkward Situations, the series where you guys leave comments about awkward situations that are happening or that have happened in your lives. Embarrassing stories, anything you want to talk about. And then I take a few of those comments and I talk about them in this series. Got some great awkward situations today. Thank you so much for the comments on the last episode I posted. Really great awkward situations and a lot of updates, actually. So I'm going to use 2 of those updates today, and I'll save 2 of them for my next episode of Awkward Situations, and maybe I'll have more updates from the comment section of this episode. Who knows? But yeah, we're going to get into that in a little bit. Just want to let you know the gameplay is from the Call of Duty World War II PC beta, but it actually was recorded before the beta started. I flew out to Madison with some other YouTubers. Activision was nice enough to pay for the hotel and the flight, and I recorded this gameplay, but I did not post it in a timely manner. One, because I got really sick after the trip, the most sick I've ever gotten after any YouTube-related trip, and I found out Prestigious Key, who was also there, and a few other people, Nico, and some other people got really sick from the trip. So it was extremely strange. I'm actually still getting over it. I don't know if my voice sounds a little different to you guys, but I've just had a lingering cough and some lingering congestion. So if my voice sounds weird, that's why. But it really knocked me out. I mean, it was like I only get really sick maybe once a year, and hopefully that was the one time this year, because I just could not do anything for about 4 days. But I'm fine now. I just played really bad during the gameplay. I wasn't sick during the trip. It's just the worst I've ever played in a capture session, because I'm not super good at PC. And I mean, maybe we were having a few, it is Madison, you know, there's good beer, having a few drinks the night before. So I'm going to blame that and my lack of skill, but I appreciate you guys watching this video and understanding the gameplay is pretty casual. Let's get into today's first update. So in the description, where I have the timestamp situations and updates, I'm also going to link for the updates specifically to a timestamp of the previous video in which the situation was in, if you want to update yourself on the situation, what I said about the situation at the time. So this first update is from a man who was trying to decide if he wanted to stay in the state he was currently living in with his newly born child and the mother who he was no longer with, or move to a different state where he had a really nice job offer. I didn't really take a side on this because it's his choice to make, and I laid out why I think it's important to support the family, but it's also important to be with your child. He gave this update and said, update, I took the job, went to court. I will get her 7 times a year for 2 weeks at a time. Mom and I are very supportive of each other, and we agreed that it will work out regardless. Thanks, Joel. So I'm really glad to hear that. I'm glad you found some compromise and resolved the situation legally. So there are legal terms to this agreement. No matter how well you're doing with the mother and what the relationship is, those terms can't change unless there's more legal action. So a nice plan, a nice structure in place. I hope the new job works out and you really enjoy it. Second update is from a fellow who was going to be a freshman this fall at a Big Ten university, very large school in the Midwest, and he applied kind of late, or he got in kind of late, one of the two, and there wasn't a lot of dorm space left, which happens at major universities in the United States. So he had to be in an apartment kind of off campus with 3 girls. He was concerned about how this was going to work out, but he gave an update on the situation, a really nice update. Hey, so thanks for the advice, Nobody. This is my update on the matter. So it's been a little over a month here at college. I'm loving it so far, and my roommates are great. They're all very chill, and I hang out with them a lot. I actually watched the whole series of Game of Thrones with one of them and watched some chick flicks with them. I didn't join any clubs yet, but I want to join the basketball club so I can hang out with people there. I also have friends on campus, so I hang out in their dorm a lot. So it turns out I had nothing to be worried about, but I think I just got lucky. Well, I think you got lucky, but also in life, we tend to worry way too much. The negative of the situation is what we always assume will happen, or I think that's natural to assume that's what's going to happen unless you're a very positive person, when in reality, you're usually overthinking things, you're usually trending in your mind towards too negative of a thought pattern, and it's going to end up being a good situation. And I'm glad to hear that you have a solid relationship with these girls. No update on if he's banged any of them or not yet, which, you know, totally cool if he didn't. That's chill, you know, it's cool to have girlfriends. One of my best friends, besides, well, Megan is my best friend, she's a girl, but I also have other girlfriends because I'm kind of a beta male, and girls are more emotionally complex. I can't just talk to guys about my feelings. We just crack open a cold one and watch the game, but girls, oh, they will they'll sit there and listen to my feelings about stuff. Okay. You guys don't care. Let's get into the first awkward situation right now. Today's first awkward situation says, "Hey Joel, I just started my freshman year at MSU a few weeks ago. Go green, go away. And I'm rooming with one of my friends from high school. We're getting along fine, but our friend, who I'll call Jessica for the story, is a lot different in college than she was in high school. At first, she would ask to come over very frequently, but now just arrives at our room unannounced all the time, to the point where I come back from a shower and she's here. I'm getting sick of it, but I don't have it in me to kick her out because she's a friend for a while now. Thanks, Joel." First of all, I just want to say that I think it's cool that you live where I live. If you're ever in the East Lansing Chipotle on Sunday, that's usually when I'm there because there's free parking in the city of East Lansing. On Sunday, I'm the one who looks like a basketball player who is also a sex offender. So if you see someone in line and you're like, "That guy looks like he has a mean hookshot, but potentially is not allowed to have kids visit his house on Halloween. Hi, I'm Joel. Nice to meet you." Also, to give further clarity on this comment, there were a lot of replies to this comment and replies from the original commenter. He said that he is not attracted to this woman and his roommate is not attracted to her either. So it's not like a, "Hey, if you're going to be here, you got to be topless" type of thing. That would be a very sexist and weird rule. But yeah, so she's not attractive. It's just more of, she's hanging out with them because they're buddy-buddy. And he doesn't think that she's like attracted to them. I think he inferred that she's probably a lesbian or wants to be a man who likes girls, something. I don't know. College. Just crazy stuff. And what else did he say? Oh, he said that locking the door is a difficult option because he and his roommate are usually making noise, playing video games, playing music. So it would be pretty obvious that they're in there. They can't just go silent when she's around and like set up cameras in the hallway to oh shit, she's coming. Be quiet until she leaves. Like you can't do that. So I think that it is important to set boundaries in college. It teaches you how to set boundaries for later in life when it will be much easier. It's really difficult, especially in a dorm situation, to set up boundaries because from ages 0 to 18, usually, and I'm not saying always, it's unfortunate if it's not always like this, but usually you have a lot of structure in your life and the boundaries are set by your parents and you can abide by those rules and you can find a comfort zone at home. And then after college, you learn a lot of important skills, you find close friends, you find good roommates, maybe you fall in love with someone and you're rooming with them. It's a lot easier in that living situation. Dorm life, I think, is important to teach kids structure in an unstructured environment, to be given a lot of freedom and to learn how to do the right things with that freedom. So I think you and your roommate are doing great, it sounds like, and your girl, your friend, sounds like she is kind of not breaking out of her own comfort zone. It sounds like you guys are her comfort zone. You are her friends from high school. I'm happy that I went to a college that only, I think, 3 people from my high school class went to, and those 2 people or 3 people that went to the college with me, I wasn't even friends with. So I had to create my own friend groups. I had to find my own groups of people. I had okay success with that. I mostly only just talked to Megan, who I met my freshman year from college. I don't have any lifelong friends from college besides, the one I made a lifetime commitment to. But, it's important to try to develop those relationships and create structure with people. You don't have to necessarily be friends with people, but you learn how to be cordial to people, even if you're not going to be their friend until the day you or they die. The easiest solution to this problem would be to request that your friend text you before you come over, ask if it's a good time to come over. There is a tactful way to say that. Say, I may be studying, or to be honest with you, I've been struggling and I need my alone time. I'm having trouble in a college environment finding time for myself, and my roommate and I are both struggling with that. We want to have our time to ourselves, whatever. Just think about it in a way. I can't really tell you how to say that to your friend because it's your friend, so maybe you'd be able to word it in a way that she would understand, but just explain that you value your alone time and you'd appreciate a text before just walking directly into the room. You don't necessarily have an open door policy. I was also going to say that you could write on your whiteboard that you're napping or some shit like that. Like when you're napping, say, please don't come into the room napping. But I believe it's either Michigan State or Grand Valley State in Michigan outlawed whiteboards in their dorms because people were drawing dicks and swastikas on their whiteboards. Again, the unstructured living environment of dormitories. First of all, kind of a bitch rule from the university. get over. Are people really getting whiteboard harassed nowadays? Michigan State University. If people are, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to talk to someone who was whiteboard harassed. But geez, really not helping my generation's label as the special snowflake generation when the whiteboards in the hallways are harassing us. My grandfather fought against Nazis, and the whiteboards in the hallways are harassing us in 2017. That's a different point. That's maybe a different video. But if you can't write on your whiteboard, at least directly ask for a text before coming over. I know that's not easy to say, but that is the most direct solution. It's also a solution that would be a lot easier for you to go to when you're older, because I find that the older I get, the more direct I am, and I'm trending towards a path of where my 86-year-old grandma is right now. How old is she? 80? Well, it doesn't matter. She's in her mid-80s, and she is extremely direct. When we're at a family dinner, she'll tell my mom if she doesn't like the cooking. She'll tell my sister she's dressed like a whore. She'll tell me that she doesn't understand what I'm doing with my life, and everyone loves her. That's just what happens. The older you get, the less you care about stuff. So if you can find a tactful way to say this, I think you'll really feel like a weight off your shoulders if you can just get text from her before she invites herself over and she understands that boundary. If you want to get more creative, I guess you could try to set up some type of camera to see when she's coming, but that sounds so complicated, man. You got a lot of other stuff to do. You got games to rank up in. You got, more importantly, classes to study for. Just don't spend too much energy on this. If you could find a way to say, please text me before you come over. I might be with a Bumble or Tinder date or something, and I don't want you to, don't mess that up for me. Please, Jessica. Please, I'm trying to get it in. It's college and stuff. Just don't walk in. I don't want it. Just try to find a way to let her know. Hopefully that works out for you. Today's second awkward situation says, awkward situation. In my chemistry class, there is two kids who are gay with each other. Don't have a problem with gays, he clarifies. But these two kids always rub each other's legs under the science table. And the other day, one of the kids accidentally rubbed my leg instead of the other dude's. I still have to sit there, and the whole situation was just awkward for me. Is there something I should do to help prevent this from happening again? The first thing that came to mind to me is something that will cause you a little bit of personal suffering, but would put an end to this situation rather quickly. I would start wearing high-waisted shorts, and I mean shorts that are like 7 inches above your knee, as high as it can go without violating the school's policy. And then I would give yourself some type of skin disease. Poison ivy would be the one I think would be the easiest to contract. Just go to the woods outside your school, rub a little bit of that leaf on your leg to the point where it looks like you have some disgusting infections on your leg. If you let the gentleman who is, I picture this scenario. You guys get that scenario? I'm awkward. The situation is you're at a table and there's 3 people at the table. There's the guy in the middle, and then his boy over here that he kisses with, and then you're just over here just like, okay, this is really weird. If you just have some type of infections on your leg and he touches those and then his hand breaks out in hives, I guarantee you, like, him and his boy will be at this end of the table as close as possible, and you'll be over here, so it'll be like you have a world of space between those 2 people. I don't think you're going to want to do that, but I will say I can relate to you in this situation because I've been in a group project with a woman and man couple. I don't think, you know what, gay or not gay, I just see this scenario as it's annoying when you're in a workspace, and school is a workspace, with people who are in a personal relationship and they're really affectionate with each other. Like, I've been in a situation where we're in a group project and we're trying to delegate out tasks. You know, I'm going to research this thing. Tommy's going to type this thing up. Clara's going to search this thing on Yahoo Answers. And why did Danielle and Aaron, why are you guys having sex with each other right now? We really need you to look this stuff up on Google, and we're talking in a group setting, and you're like rubbing Danielle's thigh to the point where our boy Tommy over here, who's quick on the trigger, is getting an erection and is trying to tuck it in his pants, and it's just a whole awkward scenario. I don't want to go to work and see people who are trying to fuck each other, all right? You just don't want to be in that scenario. I sympathize with you. If you could find a way to not, I don't think the guy's going to touch your leg again, by the way. I don't think you need to, like, put thumbtacks on your jeans, like create some type of weird bedazzling scenario where you put hot glue on your jeans and you put thumbtacks on your jeans and you walk into school like it's fucking Mad Max and you have weird leather clothes on, and then he won't touch him again if there's a cactus strapped to your thigh for some odd reason. But I don't think he's going to touch him again anyway. I think he's going to feel uncomfortable enough as it is about touching your leg. It's kind of an embarrassing scenario, but maybe you could mention to the teacher, hey, if you could get these guys to stop like kissing each other and weird shit, I'd really appreciate it. Let's keep it discreet. I just don't want to see that in a professional or learning environment. You know, I learn about that stuff at home with an incognito tab in Google Chrome. There's a time and a place for that, not the time or the place. If you can get a professional adult involved, the teacher or whatever, I think that would be the best scenario. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to happen again. I just wanted to vent that I've been there, man. I'm sorry. And you don't have to strap a cactus to your leg unless you really want to. And are you trying to create a fashion statement, which maybe by trying to solve this problem, you'll find that you have a passion for fashion and you found a career that you're going to love. So let's hopefully turn it into a positive situation. Give me an update if you have one. Next, awkward situation. Hey, Joel, awkward situation here. I'm a senior in high school, and for my entire life, all I wanted to do is join the military. I have great grades and plan on doing ROTC and then medical school. However, unfortunately, I have asthma, which is a disqualifying condition for the military. It's frustrating because while I technically do have asthma, it never significantly affects me or prevents me from physical activity, but that doesn't matter to the military. I have two options, the first of which is getting a waiver, but for asthma, that is unlikely to happen. My other option is lying about it. I know people who have lied about conditions and are just fine, but plenty of other people tell you it's very risky to lie. If you get caught, you can get charged with fraudulent enlistment, which screws you over for the rest of your life. Also, I would only be doing the National Guard, which isn't nearly as physically demanding as the Marines or something. I don't know what to do because it's always been a dream of mine, and I know I would be just fine should I risk it. There were a lot of great replies to this situation, so I don't even feel like there was a need for me to address it, but I did want to tag along and say that I do not think it is smart to lie your way to success. It works for some people in the professional business world, but especially in this situation where I know you say that you have never been boxed in physically by your asthma, but you don't necessarily know what the Army is going to ask of you, what the National Guard is going to ask of you. I've had friends who join ROTC, and next thing they know, they're in Iraq, or they're in military training area XYZ, whatever, in Georgia, where it's extremely hot. And the physical demand is there, even if they were joining for computer programming. When you're in the military, it's whatever they say goes. And by the way, I do want to say I appreciate your will to serve. I think it's very noble. And I think that there are many ways to serve that don't necessarily involve the military. But you don't want to completely write that off yet. I say go try to get the waiver. Maybe it's a 50-50 shot. It's better than lying about it. And like you say, I don't know how it screws you over for the rest of your life, but to lie about it and then get found out, it certainly hurts your reputation. And there's other, I'm sure, repercussions that you know about that I don't know about, but you don't want to lie about it. I think you're asking me to tell you to lie. That's stupid. Don't lie about it. Try to get the waiver. If you don't get it, I'm sure there's many other options to serve. There's Peace Corps. There's firemen, police. Yeah, there's a lot of things you could do. I don't want you guys to box yourselves in with your dreams. It's not either I'm going to do this thing or my life is over. Sometimes dreams have to be adjustable. That doesn't mean to not dream big. I think it's important to dream big. Hell, I thought it was a ridiculous dream in high school to think that maybe one day I'll get paid to make people laugh. That was my big dream. I just want to get paid to make people laugh. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I ended up achieving that dream, and I feel extremely lucky, but that doesn't mean my dreams weren't adjustable. At the same time I was trying to do that, I was also trying to get a degree, and I was working, and I didn't stop doing those things until I was making more than enough money to pay off my student loans. So dreams have to be adjustable. I think it's important to understand and learn that lesson in life, but I also don't want you guys to box yourselves in. If you really want to do something, I do believe in the power of believing in yourself, especially when no one else will. There's a lot of books about being able to see your success, believing in it, the power of that. The human mind is an amazing thing. I wish I could put into better words how badly I would like you to keep pursuing this dream if possible, but if it's not possible, it's not the end of the world. Try to get the waiver. More than anything, let's see what happens from that, and then we can go from there. Maybe post an update if you don't get the waiver, how you're feeling, all of that. Please try to get the waiver, though. And I appreciate, once again, your service, your wanting to serve, and anyone else that wants to serve out there. Hopefully you can get that waiver, man. Last awkward situation today says, hey, Joel, so my awkward situation has to do with my girlfriend's dad. He isn't doing so well, and whenever we talk and the conversation turns to something about him, I get really quiet and I don't know what to say. I'm afraid that I'm giving off the wrong impression that I don't care. Can you give me any advice on how to talk to her about her dad and how to comfort her while her dad goes through these troubling times? I wanted this one to be last because it is a really important lesson growing up, learning how to deal with difficult situations and learning how to listen to people. This is a situation in which to be there for your girlfriend, the best possible thing you can do is listen. You don't have to have the answer. She's telling you some difficult stuff. You didn't elaborate on what the difficult situation is, but it doesn't matter. She's talking to you about her feelings and genuinely listen. Sometimes Megan will tell me some shit and I'll be staring at her and I'll be nodding my head and I'll be thinking to myself, man, that Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta is so cool and you can fly in a starfighter and oh, wow, he was like that at work? Wow, and oh, yeah. Call of Duty World War II is going to be so sick, dude. I'm so excited. Wow, can you believe he said that, right? I'm not a perfect person. When she's really going through some tough times and when you really have to be there for a person, you have to know how to listen and genuinely listen. Your response is not necessarily something she's going to remember. It's not like she's going to say, I'll just give an example as to what her father's going through. I don't know what it is. You don't have to elaborate. If he's going through cancer, let's say, and she's like, I don't know. The medical bills are piling up and I don't know what to do for my father. I just feel so lost. You just have to say, I don't know how, but I feel like it's going to be okay. Just remain positive. I'm always here for you no matter what. That's probably the most important thing to say. You know, I'm here for you. I can't understand what you're going through, but I'm here for you. She's not necessarily going to remember what you can say. There's a lot of scenarios in your life where there is not a sentence which will make her feel better. When Megan is really upset about something, usually, you know, something that I did, if we're in a fight or something, or if she's just upset about something at work, her job is rather stressful, a lot more stressful than my job, and there's a lot of things that are out of her control. I just think to myself, God, I just wish there was a sentence I could say that would solve the whole scenario. I wish I was so slick with my words that there was one thing I could say that would completely change her mood and she would be 100% positive and 100% fine. But that is not realistic. That happens in movies. That does not happen in real life. Sometimes there are no words. That is a true phrase. There are no words for some scenarios. And the words aren't important. It's the action. The action of being there, the action of listening, the action of understanding. So if you can just create that action and be consistent with that action and be there for her, that is the most important thing. That is what she will remember, not necessarily the words that you say. She'll remember that you were there, not what you said while you were there. In terms of talking to the father about difficult scenarios, I've been in a situation where I've been talking to family members and they're going through some rough patches and it can be tough to keep the conversation up, but just don't overthink it, you know, react to the words that they're saying. Listening is very important because a lot of times when you're speaking to someone in conversation, you're thinking about the next thing that you're going to say, regardless of what the person is saying. You're thinking about the next point you want to make. You're thinking about the next joke you want to tell. That's a lot of times for me. You're thinking about the next whatever you're going to say. But if you I've done this in I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, by the way. I'm just saying when I really focus my mind on doing this, when I'm saying I really want to impress this person with how I speak to them, and I really focus on this, I swear, guys, it is amazing. If you just really focus on listening to what the person says, consuming that information, you don't have to speak so slow. Like they say to you, so how's your day, Joel? Good. It doesn't have to be that slow. I mean, it will be a very natural thing, especially once you practice it. Just listen to what they say and respond accordingly. Use their point and then create your point from that point. I think if you just focus on this exercise just a little bit more, it won't seem that difficult. It's a thing you're going to have to do in life, endure difficult conversations. It doesn't get easier as you get older. This is kind of morbid, but you know, your parents don't get any younger the older you get, and your grandparents don't get any younger the older you get, vice versa. Things are going to happen. Health problems are going to happen. I've been extremely lucky in my life, but I know there are going to be some times in my life where it's going to feel like the world is collapsing on top of me I'm very lucky to have a family that loves and supports me. Most importantly, a wife that loves and supports me. And I know I can get through those difficult times because of my support system. You are part of her support system. Again, sometimes there are no words. There's no such thing as the magic word that will make every situation okay. Just say, I'm sorry, or I'm here for you, stuff like that. Listen and respond accordingly. I hope that helps. Hope all you guys are doing well out there. Thanks again for watching this episode of Awkward Situations. Probably my all-time favorite series on my channel. A lot of people love Shit from Last Week, and I like making Shit from Last Week, but Awkward Situations is easier to make, and it allows me to connect with you guys. So I really appreciate the comments on last week's episode. Hopefully we get some great comments on this week's episode. Until next time, goodbye.
You don't like the way I'm living, fuck you, pay me. I put the work in, I see the fruit daily. We planting seeds till the money trees too shady. Yeah.